yesterday. Hey, if we can get you to take your spots around.
Musical chairs.
Okay, we'll call the meeting to order at 10:02. If I could ask if everybody's reviewed the agenda and is there any additions or could ask for approval? Councilor Tender,
Approval, please.
any questions? All in favor? Carried. Okay, we'll start with introductions and start over in your spot there.
I'm Clint Simon, I'm the manager of Protective Services and the director of emergency management for the county of Stettler.
Ernie Gender, good morning. Paul McKay, good morning.
Larry Clark, good morning.
Dave Grover.
Good morning.
Les Dilbert, Counselor for Bynor NDA.
Nikki Dorsenson, Communications. Michelle McGrath, Assistant.
Marina McKinnon, representing William McKinnon.
Andrew Burshak, Director of Municipal Services.
Robin Potter, Bylaw Officer.
Yeah.
Before we go any farther, can you all check your microphones?
Was there someone specific you couldn't hear? Or
Most of you.
most of us?
Not most of it. That speaker's not working.
Dave,
Yeah.
Checking.
Or this mic
Okay.
set.
Okay.
You're good?
Oop.
There we go. You're good.
Nice meeting.
Probably just not showing into it
This
this morning.
real.
Okay.
You have the
Hey.
red on, so you just have to put the red off.
The big button.
There you go. Yeah. Yeah.
Try again. Right now?
Okay.
check it. Okay, there.
It's good. Great.
Now that we have that all straight, I'll go through the hearing procedure. This is a hearing of an appeal of an enforcement order in accordance with Section 547 of the Municipal Government Act and Section 7 of the County of Stettler Nuisance Bylaw number 1385-08. We will start by addressing any preliminary matters before presentations. After those are settled, we will move to the background report from the issuing officer. Following that, both the council and the appellant will be given the opportunity to ask questions. Questions should be limited to clarification only and not debate. Next, the appellant will be able to present their appeal, the reasons for it, and the requested relief. Council and the issuing officer will then be given the opportunity to ask clarifying questions of the appellant. Both the issuing officer and the appellant will then be given the opportunity to present a summary or a rebuttal to any of the issues raised today. Council will then have a final opportunity to ask questions. Finally, council will deliberate and render a decision. Council may confirm, vary, substitute, or cancel the enforcement order. Preliminary matters, we'll now move to the preliminary matters. Does anyone require an adjournment or is everyone prepared to proceed today? Okay, so no adjournment. Submission of additional materials. Does anyone require, does anyone have any additional materials or documents to submit to council?
We'll just, if I can, Mr. Chairman, raise the attention of council, the printed package of photos that was not distributed in advance. Those are photos from yesterday.
There is no other additional materials? Is there any other materials that need to be addressed prior to considering the merit of the appeal? I would ask the issuing officer to walk us through the incident report and remedial order.
Mr. Chairman. So on February 9th, I was patrolling the hamlet of Red Willow and I noticed an unsightly property at 33 Main Street. It was in violation of the County of Stettler's nuisance bylaw, the accumulation of refuse. 33 Main Street had a full, large scrap metal garbage container in the front driveway that appears to be on the County of Stettler right-of-way. It also appeared that the accumulation of refuse has extended outside of the property lines and amongst the trees in the County of Stettler right-of-way. It appears that the accumulation of refuse has also extended into the alley behind this property. McKinnon William is the registered landowner of 33 Main Street. I documented my findings with photographs and added them to this file. At 15:50 hours, I discussed my findings with Protective Services Manager Syme, and he agreed to issue a remedial order to McKinnon. Syme also suggested contacting the RCMP before issuing the order to McKinnon in person in case the RCMP would like to take a look at the property as well. On February 10th at 9:06 in the morning, I phoned the Stettler RCMP backline and spoke with Constable Weird requesting the RCMP support to issue the remedial order to McKinnon. Constable Weird told Potter that there is an officer on her way back from Big Valley and that she will contact me when she was back in town. At 9:10, the call ended, and at 11:16 hours, Constable Ferrier called Potter. Constable Ferrier said that she would leave the detachment and meet Potter in Botha since Potter was already patrolling in that area. At 11:18 hours, the call ended. At 11:37 hours, Potter met Constable Ferrier at the post office in Botha. At 11:41 hours, Potter and Constable Ferrier drove to Red Willow. At 11:55 hours, Potter and Constable Ferrier arrived at 33 Main Street in Red Willow. Potter and Constable Ferrier approached the property and noticed that McKinnon's maroon SUV was not parked in the driveway. Potter removed the chain from the gate on the deck so Potter and Ferrier could knock on the front door of the house. Potter knocked on the front door and a dog began to bark from inside the house, but nobody opened the door. Potter posted the remedial order enclosed in an envelope on the front door and took a photograph for this file. Potter and Constable Ferrier closed the gate and put the chain back on it. At 11:59 hours, Potter and Constable Ferrier departed the area. At 14:41 hours, Potter sent a copy of the remedial order by registered mail with the following tracking number. On February 13th at 11:23 hours, McKinnon Marina called Potter asking for more information about how they can get the order reviewed by council. Potter told McKinnon that she would need to send a copy of the letter to the County of Stettler office with a fee of $50 so the council can review it at their next meeting. Potter said that if council decides to revoke the order, the $50 fee would be returned to the applicant. At 11:27, the call ended, and at 13:39 hours, McKinnon W. dropped off the request for review letter to the County of Stettler office, and Potter gave that letter to Syme. On February 16th at 10:40 hours, Potter arrived at 33 Main Street to take more photographs of the refuse. Potter took a video and photographs for this file. At 11:20 hours, Potter departed Red Willow. On February 22nd at 11:40 hours, Potter patrolled Red Willow and did not see any changes made to 33 Main Street. At 11:46, I departed the area. On February 23rd, at 14:45, Potter patrolled Red Willow and noticed that a large scrap metal garbage container had been removed from the property at 33 Main Street. And at 14:59, Potter departed the area. Would you like to go over the pictures?
Yeah, maybe just walk us through the pictures.
Sure. So on that first picture, we're looking at the back alley behind 33 Main Street, and we can see the accumulation of refuse protruding out into the alley. On the second picture, it's just a further away look at that, and the same with the third picture. The fourth picture, you're looking at the front door of Mr. McKinnon's property with the remedial order enclosed in the envelope that we left there that day. On the next page, you can see the large scrap metal garbage container on his front driveway that is kind of going out into the Stettler, or the County of Stettler right away. And right beside that in the trees, you can see the accumulation of refuse. And if you turn the page again, you will see that accumulation going down the fence line and into the trees. If you look at the next page, I've attached the aerial photo, and that is just because the green lines outline the property lines. And if you look at, so the road, I guess, if you're looking at the picture, north would be Main Street. The green lines, you can see that the property line is before the trees. So if you're looking at the trees, the property or the refuse is into the proper or into the Stettler County right away. The next page is the remedial order that I've issued in person and by registered mail.
Can you just walk us through what the remedial order required?
So the remedial order gave Mr. McKinnon 14 days to clear and remove all the refuse and garbage from the property, or remove these items inside of a closed building on the property so that they're not visible from the outside of the property lines, and remove a large scrap metal container from the County of Stettler right away in front of the property.
And then maybe just walk us through the pictures from the March 13th.
Absolutely. So the additional pictures today, or that were taken yesterday, the first page, you can see that the large scrap metal container has been removed. On the second page, you see another picture from the front of his property off of Main Street. And then on that third picture, you can still see the accumulation of refuse in the trees. And on the last page, you can still see the accumulation of refuse at the rear of the property protruding into the back alley that has not been dealt with.
Does council have any questions for the issuing officer? Councilor Gender?
So on the aerial photograph where it shows the lake outline screen, so that is facing towards Main Street.
That is correct. So his driveway enters into Main Street in Red Willow.
Okay. And like those trees that are showing in the pictures with the remnants on it, those are the trees immediately north of it, towards the upper left-hand corner then?
That's correct.
Okay.
I have a question too. Just on the second picture that was part of the package this morning. It appears that behind everything, there's a trailer with possibly a tractor and stuff on it. Is that all associated with this property too?
No, it is not. That is at the neighboring property.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions? Councilor Gender?
So this scrap bin, like I'm just kind of wondering like how long it's been sitting there, how much, like whether this has been taken, whether it's scrap metal that was cleaned up from the property, how long has it been there? And also say like, is there any more metal that is also going to be cleaned up in time that will require to like another bin?
I think probably the latter half of that question would be better suited for the appellant when we get to that point. But the first part is just if the first time you observed the metal.
I did observe the scrap metal bin before I did issue the remedial order on the 9th of February. I can't recall how long it was there before. I talked to Mr. Simon, discussed the steps going forward, but it was there for a little while prior to. So, let's go back to my notes here.
There's a spot for that question. I think your next question, Councilor Gender, just wait. Just wait. Okay, is this a question back to
Yes, okay.
Water?
I guess the question that I have is, I don't know how long this property has been owned by the people now. I don't know whether they inherited anything that was on there and how long it has been taking in order to really start cleaning up on, that they have been taking this upon themselves. It appears like they've been taking it upon themselves to clean it up until this point. I guess I'd just like to know a little bit more of the history on that part.
That'll be a question to the appellant down further through.
I think Officer Simon could probably
Okay.
provide a little bit of background.
I can add a little bit of background to that as well. So we also had a previous on-site leak complaint put forward by a resident in 2019 about the same property. It took a full year to get a similar trailer removed that was full of scrap metal and debris removed from the property. as well as clean up the property in general. I do have pictures from the last ones that we had were from November of 2020, where none of the materials up front were there. That fence line wasn't there. It was all cleaned up and to county standard. So everything that you see there would have been new within the last year and a half.
Thank you. Any other questions to the issuing officer? Council? Does the appellant have any questions for the issuing officer?
I don't have any questions. I just have a comment that we're waiting for another scrap bin to come so that we can put the rest of the stuff into it, but we have to wait until it gets delivered and we haven't been given a delivery date yet. But that is going to be cleaned up. And at the back, I'm not sure what's going on. I thought that we had cleaned up the back, but it looks like it's not. So, and I don't think he's aware of the property lines. Like, we've never seen a photo like this to show us what is our property and what isn't our property.
I can make a comment on that. I did speak with McKinnon in 2019 and laid out where his property lines were.
Especially at the rear of the property, where those power poles are. The rule of thumb is within a foot of that is your property line, and that was laid out to him before.
Okay,
So that has been notified to him.
okay, because I thought he had moved everything back.
And at one point in time, I believe he did, but then as we can see from the new pictures, that it's starting to creep back into that alley again.
Okay, so I don't know how to do it again. That's part of the reason I think that he ordered another bin was so that he could get rid of that stuff. But we haven't had the bin delivered yet.
Okay, so there, our next, we were to ask the appellant to present their appeal and clarify the relief sought. So
Yeah.
kind of started down that path, I guess, but, so not knowing the property line, what would you state, what is the appeal on it?
Just pull your mic a little closer.
I'm really nervous and I've never been to anything like this before, so I don't know what, I'm supposed to be saying, except that we have been ordering bins so that we can clean up the mess. It's taken a while for the bins to get there, and then it's taken a while for them to get picked up again. Like, they're not just dropped off one week and picked up the next week. It's taken several weeks to get them back and forth. The weather's been cold, so he's had a hard time working outside. And I think the main thing is the weather and not getting the bins. And he's getting kind of old. He's getting near 70, so he doesn't work as fast as he used to.
Councilor Stillberg?
Yeah, I just was gonna say, I really appreciate you coming in and having this discussion with us. And, it's so much better to work through this problem together rather than just ignore it and whatever and hope it goes away, because it definitely doesn't go away. And I appreciate that you've made the effort to already dump the dumpster. So I think that progress is great. And I'm curious to know, like, do you have any approximate timeline that you would need to finish up the rest of the cleanup? I realize, with the snow and a lot of things maybe froze down yet, you may require some time. And I was just wondering, had you any idea when maybe you could get it done?
We were hoping for a couple of months. Hopefully the snow will be gone and then he'll be able to get the rest of that stuff out of the snow and into the bin.
Other questions for the appellant? Councilor?
I can just make an observation. I see that the letter was dated on February 13th, and somewhere between February 22nd and 23rd, the bin was removed. So I do see that there is progress on here, and great to be able to see that. And I'll see, like, with the snow, hopefully disappearing in the next couple of months. It's going to be very difficult. You maybe pick up some of it now, but as long as like there, I see that there is an effort being made here, it is greatly appreciated. Thank you for coming in.
Any other questions from council? Does the issuing officer have any questions for the appellant?
No, I don't.
Okay. Summary of rebuttal. Does the issuing officer have any rebuttal to provide or conclusions to summarize?
No.
Yeah. Does the appellant have any rebuttal to provide or conclusions to summarize? No, thank you. Questions by council. Does council have any final questions for the appellant or the issuing officer? Councilor Grover?
So we could give them 2 months to clean that up, because it'll be melting by then.
That's for council, yeah. Not a question for either of them, but,
Okay.
yeah.
I just was wondering, I was gonna ask her if that clean that up in that next time.
I do have a question though. Is this property we were sitting at the table in 2019 and 2020 when it was cleaned up once. Is there continual operations where there's scrap metal and stuff being brought to the property?
Not that I know of anymore.
And
If I may, our usual practice as well, if we can see progress with the property, once that due date comes, we're more than happy to issue further orders, giving extensions. It's not like the date that we set is hard and fast. If it's not done by this date, then that's it. Then we go and clean it up for them. We work with people best that we can, as long as we can see that there's progress being done. So in a case like this, we would have by default done an extension, just because we've seen now that there has been progress. That scrap bin has been removed. They're gradually working at cleaning it up. So we usually try and work with people best that we can. And that's even why the last time that we did a cleanup order on this property, it took a little over a year from start to finish on that file to get everything to a satisfactory state.
Any other questions? I guess, can I question back to Officer Symes? Okay. Officer Symes, if, as you just explained there, if we continue to head with this order, process would be that the snow would melt, when they could access these things, and if it was done timely then, we'd be working with them to get it cleaned up. Is that was your answer there? Okay.
that's perfect.
And if we had to extend it a little bit, if progress was being made, you would look at it at that point.
Yeah, and then we
Would
would,
issue a new order for 1 month, 2 months, however long that we feel, and based on how much work has been put in by the person as well. If we aren't seeing any progress, then we usually give tighter deadlines. But if we see that they're effectively working at chipping away at the problem, then we'll give month, 2 months, and just regularly check in with them to make sure that everything's going according to plan.
Thank you. Any other questions, council? Would council be prepared to put forward a motion to confirm, vary, or substitute or cancel the order? Councilor Stover?
Yes, I would like to move that we extend this time for the appellant to clean up the property. And being we have so much snow in March, it may be difficult to use the coming weeks too effectively. So I would like to extend the deadline to May 31st. And in that time, it should give them ample time to finish the cleanup and get the new bin in and out. So that's the date I would like to suggest.
May 31st.
Yes.
Any questions on that? Concerns? I will call the question to council. All in favor? That's carried.
Chairman?
Yes, Councilor Stover.
Further question. or a comment, perhaps even a motion. Being that the appellant is working with us on this one, I would like to make a motion that the $50 fee be returned to the appellant if the cleanup is completed by May 31st.
Questions, concerns on that? Call the question, all in favor? Carried.
I certainly appreciate the cooperation.
So if the appellant believes that the procedures under the act were not followed or that the decision of council is patently unreasonable, you may appeal the decision to Court of King's Bench. This appeal must be made within 30 days and must state the reasons for the appeal. So if there's further questions.
I understand that.
And on that, if there's no other questions or I will call for adjournment. Councilor Gender, all in favor? Carried. Thank you.
Thank you very much for having my